Welcome to Week 20 of the AI Literacy course. This week, we focus on your Capstone portfolio and action plan. Remember, your goal isn't to master every AI tool, but to show that you can approach any situation with calm, curiosity, and responsibility. AI literacy is defined by the quality of your decisions, not the frequency of your AI usage. A polished AI-generated product doesn't automatically mean you are AI literate. If you cannot explain the sources, data, permissions, and the review process behind your work, the final product only hides your lack of judgment. True literacy is about being able to justify your process, not just presenting a finished result. Sometimes, the most literate decision is to not use AI at all. Whether it's because the tool isn't approved, the information is too sensitive, or the output simply cannot be verified, choosing not to use an AI system when appropriate is a sign of excellent, responsible judgment. The central rule to remember is that quality matters far more than frequency. Always prioritize reasoned, accountable choices. Your AI literacy is demonstrated by your ability to explain exactly why your chosen path, whether that involves AI or not, is the best fit for your specific context. Your learning goals for this project include defining a manageable task, selecting the right methods, and demonstrating evidence-based judgment. You will also need to show how you incorporate feedback into your revisions and how you plan to maintain your AI literacy skills over the next 3 months. AI literacy is a continuous practice. Tools, regulations, and social expectations are always evolving, so you must maintain a durable method for making decisions. Always know when to pause and ask for support if you are unsure about the safety or appropriateness of a task. The landscape of AI is constantly shifting. Changes occur in tool capabilities, interfaces, the laws and policies governing them, and even in standard workplace practices. Your ability to adapt your decisions based on these shifting factors is a core component of long-term AI literacy. To maintain durable literacy, follow this decision method. Understand what systems can and cannot do, check the consequences of your claims, protect the rights and privacy of others, and always document your choices and areas of uncertainty. This structured approach builds a strong foundation for any project. Remember that responsible options go beyond just using or not using AI. You can limit your use to specific, bounded parts of a task, redesign your approach, delay the work until you have more evidence, or simply decline the tool if you find a safer, more reliable method. Start your capstone by focusing on a single, core question. Should and how should AI be used for this specific task? Ensure your task addresses a concrete human need, and keep the scope narrow enough so that you can easily explain your reasoning and make necessary revisions. For your capstone task, ask yourself, is AI even suitable here? If so, what is the appropriate bounded role for it? Most importantly, what evidence supports your choices? Answering these 3 questions will help you build a well-supported, defensible project. Choose a context that is truly useful to you. This could be a study or learning assignment, a professional or approved task, a creative endeavor, a practical everyday information need, or even a nonpartisan civic issue. A relevant context makes for a more meaningful and effective capstone project. There are several possible project types you can choose from: a guide or resource, an analysis comparing different options, an accessible presentation, a bounded prototype, or a reasoned non-use report. Select the type that best allows you to demonstrate your decision-making and AI literacy. Keep your project manageable by sticking to one clear purpose and a limited, realistic scope. Make sure your process is explainable so that someone else could follow your logic, and leave yourself enough space to revise your work based on feedback or new information. Finally, clearly define your purpose, your intended audience, and your desired outcome. What specific human need are you addressing? Who is the result for? And what, exactly, should improve as a result of your project? Defining these elements early will guide your success. Now let's identify the people affected and the stakes involved. Who benefits or bears risk in your project? Consider the context, whether it's study, work, public, or private. Use these points to make a reasoned, documented decision, rather than treating AI use as the end goal. Next, set clear boundaries for what is included and excluded. Clearly define permitted tasks and materials. Identify high-risk or unrelated work that falls outside your scope, and establish boundaries to prevent silent expansion. Your goal is a documented, purposeful approach. Define your information boundaries. Do not enter sensitive or confidential data. Practice data minimization by using only the necessary information and prefer fictional or synthetic cases where possible. This keeps your project safe and focused. Some decisions must remain human. Use your judgment to interpret evidence and context and own the final result of your project. Do not delegate high-impact choices to AI casually. Your responsibility for the outcome is a key part of AI literacy. Define your stop conditions. If you identify unsupported decisive claims or concerns regarding privacy, rights, or harm, you must act. Always be ready to pause, redesign, or reject the project if necessary to maintain safety. Compare AI with other options. You might choose to do the task without AI. Use a simple tool like a template or search engine. Seek human help from a specialist, or use a bounded AI with a limited function. Choose the most reasoned path. Choosing to complete a task without AI offers the strength of direct human control. While it may require more time, ask yourself, does this method best serve the purpose? Sometimes, manual work is the most reliable way to achieve your goals. Consider using search, templates, or simpler software before turning to AI. Use search to locate original sources, templates to structure repeated work, and specialized software for dependable functions. These reliable alternatives can often replace complex AI systems. Human expertise and support remain invaluable. Teachers can provide assessment guidance, librarians can assist with research, specialists offer high-stakes knowledge, and colleagues provide insight into local workflows. Integrate these human perspectives into your project. If you use AI, do so only for a bounded, appropriate part of your task. Use it to draft structures, translate for accessibility, or brainstorm fictional alternatives. Always ensure human review remains a core part of your process. When choosing an option, ensure it fits your human needs, minimizes harm, and is verifiable. It should be allowed by policy and accessible to your intended audience. Prioritize these criteria to ensure your project remains purposeful and responsible. Select only the course tools you actually need. Ensure the framework fits the project, explain why you selected it, and avoid using tools or methods mechanically. Documenting your choices demonstrates your literacy and thoughtful design process. For prompts and dialogue, follow the RUKF method. Define the role, task, context, and format. Improve your results through follow-up questions and use dialogue for reasoning. Always remember that no prompt guarantees truth, so verify everything. Use evidence and verification methods. Calibrate your trust based on evidence. Perform hallucination checks on decisive claims. Sift through sources, and pause to check suspicious media. Vigilance is essential when interacting with AI outputs. Finally, prioritize people, data, and fairness. Use the APK framework for approved, personal, or sensitive data. Investigate representation patterns for fairness, ensure meaningful oversight through review, and confirm that your project is accessible and contestable. This lesson details methods for creation and rights. For production, plan, generate, inspect, and revise your work. When considering rights, evaluate intended use, ground your claims in facts, maintain honesty, and ensure traceability. Finally, separate AI disclosure from attribution to keep your work transparent. Beyond production, consider your organizational and civic methods. Evaluate workplace proposals critically. Assess the civic participation and public accountability involved in your project, and ensure the scope of your tool usage is justified by the context. Use these methods to make a reasoned, documented decision. Explain the relevance of each method you select. Link your task to the problem it solves. Provide evidence for the decision it supports, and explain why other frameworks were deemed unnecessary for this specific project. A well-documented rationale is key to demonstrating your AI literacy. The updated Compass framework now consists of 7 parts: context, options and outcome, model and method, people, privacy and permissions, assess evidence and impact, supervision and stop, and finally, showing your process. This guide helps navigate projects while allowing for deeper checks where necessary. The first part, context, asks you to define your task and identify the human purpose you are serving. Consider your target audience, analyze the potential stakes of what could go wrong, and acknowledge your constraints regarding time, resources, and boundaries. The next part, options and outcome, requires you to define what success looks like. Question whether AI is actually necessary, explore non-AI alternatives, and decide whether the AI should assist with the entire task or just a specific, bounded part of it. The third part, model and method, focuses on the function. Are you generating, searching, classifying, recommending, or predicting. Identify the data sources that influence the output, understand the limits of the method, and ensure you are using appropriate frameworks from our course. Be aware that system functions often overlap. For example, a search tool might add generated text, or multiple methods might combine to achieve a goal. Your primary focus should always be on understanding exactly how the function operates within the context of your specific task. The fourth part, people, privacy, and permissions, is critical. Identify who benefits and who might be harmed. Protect sensitive data. Ensure the tool is permitted for use. Respect copyright and licensing for sources, and check for accessibility and fair representation. The fifth part, assess evidence and impact, involves evaluating your results. Identify decisive claims and potential errors. Determine what sources support your results. Screen for bias, and clearly state what remains uncertain or unknown in your findings. The sixth part, supervision and stop, defines the human role. Who is reviewing the work? Do you have the capacity, knowledge, time, and authority to own the final decision? Establish clear stop conditions that pause the project if issues arise, and always prepare safer alternatives. The final part, show the process and next step, requires you to articulate your choices. Explain why AI was used or rejected, provide evidence for your checks, clarify human responsibility, document what you have learned, and outline your next steps for future practice. Remember, the Compass framework guides the project but does not replace specialized methods. It provides an overview to keep your work coherent, while tools like SIFT or other frameworks add the depth needed. Use your judgment to select the right tools for your specific project. Verification must always match the stakes. Perform light checks for low-stakes tasks like brainstorming, but apply rigorous, evidence-based verification for high-stakes work involving rights, health, or safety. Focus your effort where errors matter most. Consider this lower-stakes example, using AI to generate headings for a study guide. The check focuses only on relevance and clarity. Because the real-world consequence is limited, the verification intensity is low, showing how you can tailor your approach based on the project's stakes.